Hey everybody, welcome back to Guys Night Laboratory. My name's Jesus, and yeah, we're on week 3 or 4 of this lockdown quarantine. So I figured, hey, how about some more production here? And I wanted to get a little more fun and not talk too much about quarantine and stuff like that because it gets people a little more on edge. So I figured, why not do something more fun and something I was thinking that all of us can relate to right now, and something that we can't go to. Most of us can't is we can't go to the office, but one of the things that we all love, or most of us, or some people are like, oh, I like the British version, but most of us like the show The Office, and it got me thinking. I was like, what character is the best, you know? And it's the last couple days of March, and we didn't get to have March Madness, but we always like the tournament, so I figured, why not have a tournament of the best characters on The Office? So anyways, this is my pick right now. So we're going to do the first round, and if you guys comment or show some love on the video and likes and stuff like that, then you could put your input, and I will take that into consideration of why those characters are should move on. But right now, it's just going to be my decision and my call for the first round. Usually, for this first round, it's going to be the main characters pretty much versus like the secondary characters. So anyways, without further ado, let's go. Why don't we start off with round 1? And we got, it's pretty self-explanatory here. We got Jim, lovable character, everybody loves him, versus the interns from season 9. Now, the interns from season 9, they were like the new characters. Not to say they weren't funny, but they were just kind of dead on arrival. There's no point to them. It's like those shows that add the new characters. It's like, why do you add new characters? Like, the show's over, no one's gonna invest in them, no one cares about them. I'm sure they had some funny parts and stuff like that, but it's just no one cared about him. Where you got Jim, who's been there since season 1, the lovable character everybody loves, the he said, she said, all that stuff. It's just not a comparison. I don't think in anyone's world or any ranking or any tournament you could ever see the interns beating out Jim. So we're not going to really spend too much time on this. It's just Jim's, it's pretty much like a bye. So at this point. So if any of you guys love the interns from season 9, tell me why, and tell me why they should at least get a little more recognition. But I just don't think that, like I said, there were some funny parts, but I don't think they just took screen time, honestly. And so I don't think there was really that much to them. So anyways, I'm going to bump Jim to the next round. The next one, this is a little harder, but I don't think it's really going to be too much. We got Phyllis, everyone's favorite mom, everyone's favorite Mother Goose, Phillis Vance. Just kidding. She's going up against Roy, Pam's ex-beau. And yeah, so this is an interesting one. I think I'm going to give the nod to Phyllis, though, because Phyllis, she's been with the show that long. She had a lot of character development throughout the show, and you kind of liked her. I mean, there was that little stint with Angela where she kind of ratted him out. I mean, it's not that she did anything bad, but it just kind of showed that she could be kind of cold-hearted, or as well as just, I said, like the lovable, kind of like motherly lady that she was. Even though she's the same age as Michael, I remember. Roy, good character, but you feel bad for the guy because he was just he was a setup to Pam. He didn't appreciate her. He didn't. He always took advantage of her. Not took advantage of her, but took her for granted. And he was just there to kind of set up Jim as the hero. But Roy was. It's almost like you said, like he was a character that was there to just set up Jim and was dead on arrival. But I was thinking about this the other day because you're like, oh, what if I was an actor and I played Roy, and they're like, oh, your character is to, Jim's gonna be one of our stars, and he's gonna win, your fiance's heart, and blah 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 blah. And then it's like, well, everyone's gonna hate me, no one's gonna like me. It's like, that's true. Like, you're kind of like, oh, this sucks, but whatever. I'm on this show. How do you get out of that? But I was thinking of this, like Stranger Things. So the bad boyfriend in Stranger Things in season 1, you're thinking like, oh, he's like a bad guy. He's you don't like him. He's kind of a bully, and all this stuff. But then in season 2, he comes back and he's totally like this likable character that you're just kind of like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. he's like he teams up with the kids. He does all this stuff. I'm looking up the name right now. That's why it's kind of escaping me right now. Yeah, it's Steve. So it's like he was like kind of like the bully in season 1, and he was kind of like a punk. And then in season 2, like everyone liked him, and in season 3, everyone liked him even more. So it was like this thing like you can't get out of that like bad guy phase. It just, I guess it just depends on the character development and where they go with it. But back to The Office, I think Phillis gets the nod here because he was at the show longer. Roy was kind of still like that secondary character. He never really made it to like the front lines of the show. So we're going with Phillis. Next, this is a hard one. Stanley versus Daryl. Daryl was kind of like a secondary character, like Roy. It's just like I said, like Roy kind of was in the background, and Daryl was kind of in the background, and then Daryl made himself more on the show. He kind of got into the office out of the warehouse, and the one thing is that you think like he's like a main character. Like this is a show off between two main characters. But I'm trying to think, like, who do we give the nod to? Stanley, he's funny, no nonsense, loves his crossword puzzles. Daryl's a lot more in your face, kind of. You know what? I'm just gonna say it out there. I was never a fan of Daryl. He always kind of just seemed like a punk to me. He just seemed like he was just kind of a jerk and kind of too cool for school, which I just can't stand. And Stanley, even though he was still kind of like no nonsense and seemed annoyed and stuff like that, I could understand his annoyance. I could understand his, frustrations and stuff like that. But for characters, for me, like who is the better character on the show? You'd say, well, like if Daryl bothered you so much, and that means he was doing such a good job. But you know what? I love Stanley's character because it's like he's relatable in the sense of, let's say Daryl's not relatable, but Stanley's relatable in like that person that just cannot stand their job, but they just go to it. He says one of my favorite lines, where it's like, I go to a job where I make no money, to a boss that I can't stand, to whatever. He's like, but on pretzel day, pretzel day is good. And so for me, like I said, this is my tournament. And it's up to you guys when you start commenting and putting up your debates on why I should defend this other character. But I'm gonna go with Stanley over Daryl. All right, next we got Ryan, the intern or former intern or former head and CEO and all that stuff versus Todd Packard. Packard, I think people find him super annoying, but I like that actor. I think he's really funny. And he's just, like I said, secondary character, really annoying, really kind of vulgar, very all that stuff. But I love Ryan. I think Ryan's character arc is one of my favorites because he goes from this intern who's really smart, who's getting his degree, who's an intern at an office, who thinks he's better than that place, to being the CEO of the company and really thinking he's like the, just Mr. Bad and doing all this stuff and everything, to then losing the company and all that stuff, and then working at a bowling alley and getting dropped off by his mom. Oh my gosh. And then going back to the office and then just kind of being like this total like manipulative, sly hustler. I don't know. I just love his character. He cracks me up. Todd Packard, like I said, he's funny, but he can just be too vulgar, and it's just like, kind of like the same joke every time. Whereas Ryan, like I said, he kind of had a character arc throughout the season that like went in so many different ways. So for me, it's gonna be Ryan. Kelly Kapoor versus Holly. I can't stand Kelly. She drives me nuts. So I guess you could call me Ryan. And I love Holly. I thought she was a great addition for Michael and all that stuff. That being said, I just feel like Kelly added so much more than Holly did to the show. Even though like some of her stuff annoyed me, I thought some of the stuff she did was funny. Like, and I think she is supposed to be like an annoying character, and it works. So, whereas Holly was really sweet, and I think Holly comes off as annoying sometimes, even though she's not supposed to. But I always thought she was sweet. But I get why people get annoyed with her. But with this, the two, I'm gonna go with Kelly to move forward. Even though she's not my favorite character, I think she did have her moments and added more to the show than Holly. So Kelly. Next, we got Toby versus Robert California. Oh, dude, I love Toby. I think I just love Toby because of just how much Michael hates him, and just that he's like, it's like that meme, Bad Luck Brian. Like, that's Toby. Robert California, I never liked the character at that. I understood his character. Like, I liked the character in a sense, but I don't think he was right for The Office. Like, if he was a character on a different show, I'd be like, oh, I like this guy. But I just think the dynamics of him just didn't fit with The Office. I thought it was just too... Like, I like how he talks, I like all that stuff, but they should have saved that idea of that character for a different show, not for The Office. And I just thought it was a wasted idea. So, for me, Toby gets the nod, hands down, on this one. Next, we got Erin. I love Erin. Versus Jan. I love Jan. She's awesome. Two beautiful women who are very funny in different ways. But I gotta go with Erin because she's such a sweetheart and she plays it perfectly on the show. Especially where she's like a new character that they add on midway, like 5 seasons in, and she takes over Pam's job. So you might have like an idea like, who is this girl, and I don't like her, and why is she here? But she totally fit in, like the kind of naive, ditzy, kind of really bubbly, but kind of not to say she's dumb, but just naive would be a perfect word. Where Jan is a great character, but she's just the same person. She kind of just is mean. She uses Michael, but I just feel like Erin adds so much more than Jan, so I'm gonna go with Erin. And then finally we got Dwight versus Mo. Mo is a great secondary character. I love Mo. He's Dwight's cousin. But I mean, you got the secondary character of the actual main guy, Dwight. And so you can't beat Dwight on this because Dwight is just, he's a character. He makes that show. He made that show what it is, the way he presents stuff and the pranks and all that stuff that he had to deal with for Jim. So yeah, so I mean I don't want to like just dismiss Mo, but you can't beat Dwight on this. Like I said, he's the number one. So we're gonna go with Dwight really quick. All right, on the other side, I guess you could say on the east side. So that was the west side. On the east side, we have Michael versus Joe. I mean, Joe, I love Kathy Bates, and if this was like an Oscar race, obviously we'd probably give it to her. But it's not. It's The Office, and so Michael is the lovable character, and the show was never the same when he left. That's how impactful he was on the show. I wish he didn't leave until the end of the season, or until the finale, but he chose to leave. But he makes that show. Joe's a great character. I loved her character in a sense, but I mean, you just can't be Michael in this case. Next, we got Gabe versus Oscar. This is an interesting one because Oscar drives me nuts too. He's like Jim said, he's the stereotypical gay guy. Yeah, but I don't even know what that means. But I just love that quote or that episode because it's the one where Michael proves him wrong, and I love Kevin's Oscar getting nervous. It's so great. Gabe is. Gabe is probably like a person I've met like many times. He's likable but annoying, but not mean, but he's kind of just like the rule follower. Like, it's by the book, it's got to be by the book. And I think he's a good character, and I think this one could be a toss-up. Like, people could make a good debate, but for me, it's just a personal thing. Like, I like Oscar better. I think he adds some others, like he adds that snooty kind of like know-it-all, and you kind of need that, and you kind of need that in a show, like the know-it-all, because you have a room full of goofballs and people who aren't acting like know-it-alls, and so you need that guy to be like, no, you're all dumb, and everyone turns around and is like, well, you're the one that's dumb because we're not on the same page, and so he gets annoyed because like, no, I'm the smart one, no, you're not. So I'm gonna go Oscar because I think he adds more to the show. Next up, we got Nelly Vs Angela. Nelly she was on the show for about 3 or 4, no, I want to say 4 seasons. I'd say 3 seasons. And for me, she just seemed like she was like a character that got on like on season 9. Like, she never really like made an impact on me. I mean, I know she was there, but she was just like, she made as much as an impact as like the Interns, the new from season 9. I mean, Angela is like, she's a classic character. You can't top her. She's Dwight's love interest, and then Andy's love interest, and then the senator, and then all this stuff. Her bickering with Oscar and Kevin and the three of them, you just can't top that. And like I said, Nelly, like I can't have any like memorable lines that she has, or just instances or episodes of her. If you like her, let me know. Let me know why. But I got to give it to Angela. All right. Next we got Andy Bernard, a Nardog versus Hank, the security guard. I love Hank. He's like one of the best minor characters. He's a security guard. But I mean, if he was, placed with someone else, I wasn't such a big fan of. I love Andy. I think he really came a long way from his like big tuna and kind of anger management to really being a star of the show, like a really high mega hit player of the show. Nothing against Hank because he's got some great lines and great one-liners in the show. But, I mean, you just can't top Andy in this matchup. So, I'm going to give it to Andy on that one. Then we got Kevin Malone versus Charles. If you don't know who Charles was, Charles is Eldris Ilba. He was the new manager when Mike left, Michael Scott left and started his own company because he didn't like answering to him. So, yeah, so that's Charles. I couldn't stand Charles because, he took over Michael's job, and the fact that he didn't like Jim, or as Dwight says, oh no, the new guy doesn't like Jim? He doesn't like his witty charm? So, yeah, that was me. I didn't like Charles. And, I mean, Kevin, come on, Chili Kevin, Kevin that's in the band, Kevin the poker champ, Kevin that owns his bar, the Kevin that got fired by Dwight. You can't beat it. Kevin's got a lot of great episodes under his belt and a lot of great liners in there. Where Holly thinks he's a little slow and stuff like that. Kevin is great. So my nod is definitely Kevin. Next we got Meredith versus Bob Vance of Vance Refrigeration. Bob Vance is a great great character, but Meredith, oh my goodness, I love her kind of arc of being kind of like an alcoholic and a drunk and just a crazy lady. Bob Vance is Bob Vance. He's Phyllis's husband, but you can't. He doesn't really have a lot of great lines other than "Hey, Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration," and you remember that. But Meredith, like I said, got hit by a car from Mike. Mike tried to get her into like a rehab and all this stuff. Casual Friday was canceled because of her. Meredith gets my pick all the way. Next we got Creed. I don't even have to say it. Creed's got my pick. Love him. But we'll discuss it anyways. Creed versus David Wallace. David Wallace, great character, great add-on to the show, and he's definitely needed. But Creed, oh my gosh, you can't top Creed in everything he does. He's so great. He's so mysterious. He's so funny. It's just like, who is Creed and what is he? Like, to the final scene in the final episode where he's talking and everything, and then the cops take him away. It's just, Creed is like one of my favorite characters. Like I said, David Wallace is great, but you can't beat Creed. And then finally, the end of round 1, we got Pam versus Karen. Are you team Pam or are you team Karen? Now I know I got some looky-loos there who are like, oh, I love Karen and she's great, and Jim and Pam kind of hosed her because she didn't do anything wrong. No. It was always supposed to be Jim and Pam, and Karen just got in the way. So Karen was there was nothing wrong with her. She didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't anything bad and anything like that. Like if she stayed on the show and had gotten with like Andy or someone else or whoever else, Toby, or Ryan, whoever, I don't think people would have, hated her as much. It's because it was Jim and Pam, and it was her time. She was the female Roy, but Roy was, I think, a lot worse than Karen was. But Pam Beasley, you gotta love her. She's great. I think she's definitely got. I think a lot of people like Pam when she was like before she got together with Jim, she was a little more just different, and I think we like that, like the impactful of that, where she started to stand up for herself and her character changed. That's good, but yeah, the character did change a little bit, and it was just different. But I like Pam Beesly, and I mean, she's going to get the nod over Karen. So there you go. There's round 1. So if you guys come back, and I hope you do, in the next round we got a 2-4-6-8, 2-4-6-8, and in round 2 we got Jim versus Phillis. We got Stanley versus Ryan. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a great one. We got Kelly Kapoor versus Toby. We got Erin versus Dwight. These are going to be harder. Michael versus Oscar. Angela versus Andy. Kevin Malone versus Meredith. And Creed versus Pam. So I need your guys' help to help me, because this is going to be a lot harder to figure out who should move on. Give me your input, leave a comment, and your debates on why these next characters should move on. Why Jim or Phyllis or Angela or Andy. Or for me, the hard one's going to be Creed and Pam. You know, you Pam fans are like, she needs to go on. I'm leaning more Creed. You guys let me know. So anyways, this is Guys Night Lab. Stay safe, stay sane, keep your social distancing, but that doesn't mean keep your social isolation. Call someone, Zoom someone, hang out with someone, drive to someone's house and say hi and whatever. Alright guys, stay safe, and until round 2, take care.